What were some of the first tasks you identified to hand off? And how did you know when it was time to hand those off and level up?
So I think that's what really attracted me to multifamily, like large commercial multifamily. Cause like before I even got involved in real estate investing, I knew I didn't want to manage properties, manage people, manage tenants. But the first apartment building that I had partnered on, it was a 42 unit apartment building. And before that, it was a fourplex. So like, I had a fourplex. I self-managed just to figure out the systems, and I quickly knew I'm hiring a property manager for that fourplex. And I'm like, I'm never managing it again. But then I got in the 42 unit. I'm like, oh, we're good. We're going to hire a property manager. Everything's going to be great. It's going to be real passive income. What we didn't realize was 42 units was not big enough to pay a full-time property manager, and the numbers didn't make sense yet. And so we were only able to afford a part-time property manager at the time. And so, first of all, we hired the wrong property manager. Huge mistake, and they convinced us that they were the right fit. That was one of the biggest mistakes. And then we ended up realizing that we needed to find someone who could actually only be paid part-time, but it's like serve the community well enough to where it could still be profitable. And that's not easy. And so we had to get real creative with it. It ended up being a home run because she was just a rock star. The person that we hired on as a part-time manager, she made it happen. But huge lesson learned was never, ever again joined a team or bought a deal that was too small where we were not able to afford a full-time property management team. And in most markets, 80 to 100 units, you probably have enough revenue to pay a full-time property management team. And so that was the first thing. And like learning from that, the bigger you go, the easier they are to manage because you could hire a full-time manager, and the easier they are to finance because you can get non-recourse debt. I knew I didn't want to do operations. I knew, management was the first piece, but once we kind of got to that point, it was the bookkeeping. I'm not left brain analytical, data driven. I'm never the underwriter. I'm more of connecting with the brokers to find the right deals, sharing the deal criteria, and then connecting with investors, getting to know what their goals are and helping the team raise capital. And so bookkeeping was the first thing that I ended up delegating because I really didn't want to do that. And nowadays you can have Claude Cowork bookkeep for you. Like you don't even need to hire a bookkeeper anymore. You just got to talk to your tax advisor to know exactly how they like to see all of their data and all the financials so they could do your taxes for you. And then you just tell Claude Cowork to run it. And that's kind of been my solution. I actually let go of my bookkeeper about a year and a half ago.
Right. And I think that's, part of that delegation and getting out of like being that operator is like, I always view it as like the systems, the tech, and then the team, right? And so you mentioned before, like the systems part of your discipline, right? The system that you run again and again, the tech, like Claude, AI, all of those options. And then you got your team for those things that the systems and the tech are not solving, like your property manager, your boots on the ground there. Love it. Now, what does a well-built system look like to you? And how do you know when a process or something is ready to delegate to someone else?
For me, for my brain, I have to use like a framework. I guess you can call it a framework, but it's more like like my filter. First, like mission. Second is money. Third is energy. And fourth is like the unique ability. And so first, like, is this thing that I'm spending time on or that I'm about to spend my time on connected to the mission? If not, like, why am I doing it anyway? Right. So that's the first
Right.
filter. The second thing is, does this directly drive revenue, the money, right? Does it drive revenue, relationships, or does it reduce risk? It's all kind of tied to the capital. If not, it might not belong on my plate. Third is energy. Some tasks look small, but they like drain the life out of you. Like for me, like running numbers, data analysis, all that stuff. It might not take that actually does those types of things do take time, but they suck the life out of me, right? Other tasks create energy because they align with your strengths. They give you life, they give you joy, they give you fulfillment. You got to focus on those things that actually give you energy. And then fourth is like unique ability. Am I doing this because I haven't like slowed down long enough to like train someone else? I'm actually really good at this? So like a lot of high performers and people who achieve are addicted to being needed, unfortunately. And so
Right.
they keep things on their plate, not because they should, but because it kind of sometimes just makes them feel important,
Right. The ego.
man. And that's dangerous. Like The goal is not to be needed everywhere. The goal is to be like the most useful where you are most gifted.